Hello everyone, System Chalk here with another episode of Ike Upscribe, the Apostle Obsonate. This is the Apostle playthrough that we've been doing for the last few episodes, and I wanted to take a quick second and say thank you to those of you who've brought me up to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. It's a small milestone for some, but it's one that means a lot to me, and I did want to take a second to thank you and acknowledge those of you who've been pushing for that inside of the comments. Certainly, if people didn't hit the button, it wouldn't happen. Likewise, if you are enjoying the playthrough and would like to get those notifications, do feel free to hit the subscription button, and there is the notification bell if you want to get information. Now, it's been a little while since I have recorded one. We got the revelation that we're dealing with JC, who is somebody who we've had reference to earlier in the playthrough, but it's not always clear the first time you check in. And I'm going to need a minute here just to see what we're up against. So we're going to have a contentment that comes out of the Season of Ardors because I do not have a love interest. I do need to be careful about the fascination. I'm working at Glover and Glover. We are trying to get more recruits. I'm getting erudition. Ah yes, I think that is because I'm close to being able to level up my reason. Now, we had some trouble with our... I do believe we got caught in the expedition, so it's possible I'll need to put some more money towards it. We have crossed the treacherous ground, and there are watchers that we need to take care of. But we got 10 moths, so we're good there. And finally, we're entering the stag door. I don't recall if we were looking for anything specific behind there, but I suspect it would just be some additional secret histories. So with that in mind, let's unpause and watch the excitement happen. Now, I do need to be a little careful about my notoriety if we do have a season of suspicion pop up. Actually, you should probably actually, let me just make sure that I... Right, so we only need 3 lessons learnt. It's not immediately clear to me why I would have pursued an additional lesson learned, but especially if we get a lantern event pop up, we should be able to handle. We should be able to get ahead. Failing that, I'll just keep reading books. But yeah, as long as we don't have a Seasons of Suspicion coming up, it shouldn't be too hard to deal with the notoriety. One reason, there was a comment that came up a little bit earlier. The expedition continues. Our expedition plans for the next challenge. It'll consume funds. I can add funds now, or I could send another follower. If I have a particular friend, now is the time to renew our connection. I don't have a particular friend, so I am alone, but there is peace in that also. Alright, Season of Dread coming up next, so... Mirrors are calm, the sun is steady, the glory recedes. I am sane if that means anything. No fascination drives your visions, it is over for now. Let's get Madame Vichet back where she belongs, or at least after... this is on the continent, right? A story of a city without a gate. Sorry, the Forgotten Chronicle. A story of a city without a gate, of a queen who was not born, of a war which was not fought. Exploring with a scrap of knowledge may uncover secret locations on the continent. So, it's interesting with the Stag Door. I do tend to find that the rewards at the Ascent of Knives and the Painted River are always a little dodgy. The Painted River can give you fascination, and I do tend to find fascination is the one aspect that I don't want to say struggle with, because I notice that tends to give a lot of comments about how I can deal with fascination. I know how to deal with fascination, but especially before they introduce the change where you can use fleeting reminiscence to get rid of them. I found fascination was one of the ways, it was something that I feared. It was definitely something that could end my playthroughs. As it is, we're no longer in that stage. Fleeting reminiscence is my weapon against fascination if the need arises. So last night Gerby was talkative. He spoke in his siege engine voice of the histories he'd overheard in the waking world. I listened until his stories tailed off again into weeping. Oh, Forgotten Chronicle and Forgotten Epic. 2 different things. Okay. Let's get the board back in shape. Okay, we've got our secondary edition, which is being worked on. Sorry, I thought there was another detail that I was missing. And, right, don't create dread, which means the Savorous Blood. Oh, no, sorry, we've already got my this is my blood, not the vial. Okay, well, in the absence of anything else to do, I don't think it would hurt to go back to the... I don't think it would hurt to go back through the stag door. One for the resources that it'll get me, but number two, on the chance that I get something that prompts lantern. Look closer, closer still, closer. Keep looking, closer. Now close your eyes. There are deception against the watchers, and the stag door is the adept's gate. To pass it is to be initiated into the first true mystery of the House of the Sun. The head Gearby weeps to see me enter where it cannot, but it must let me pass. The scarred valves of the door grind open. Okay, distant lights. Our enemy has set a candle in the High Mantis window. Its light will infiltrate our dreams. I don't recall what this does, so this will be an interesting challenge. And we have some money from Glover and Glover. So my inclination would be to paint if I can. Let's see whether or not that's an option. I can do physical labor, but there isn't really the same need to get vitality as there used to be. I do have some staleness, so it won't hurt to put a bit of passion into my work. 3 passion does run the risk of fascination, but I have some ways of handling fascination, so let's see if we can make this happen. We'll paint my contentment. Come with me, and we have found Laidlaw, an acquaintance. Laidlaw is a tinkerer and a mechanic with an uncanny knack. So, put him beside Tristan because we don't have any... I don't think I want to use the... I don't want to initiate them in the cult quite yet. Laidlaw would be tempting because of... Actually, hang on. How much do we have in terms of forge? Not enough. So no, Laidlaw gets... No, Laidlaw would get special treatment, but I'm going to wait to see if we get any fascination that comes from the work. So in this case, we will still chat about our occult scrap. Talking publicly about the invisible arts will attract attention. Perhaps that's what I want. My mind, the library. Okay, so I have a little under 3 minutes to get these combined into another level of reason. Their bewilderment is our opportunity. We'll pass in silent secrecy. So we've passed the Watchers. We will be generating another notoriety before too long then. I could spend money on better paints, or perhaps I could find more exotic pigments. I'm not quite wealthy enough to spend for the paintings yet. Dark days. I must be careful not to let doubts creep in. Dread may provoke a full-fledged despair. And we do have a season of visions coming up, so the idea of keeping at least one recruitment in reserve was not a bad one. All conviction, the world goes away. Speaking of, so normally here I would like to go to the Painted River because of and I seem to recall there's actually a fairly predictable pattern of outcomes for the Stag Door. But I am actually recording this either late at night or early in the morning, depending on how you read it. So I definitely do not have the same powers of recall that I normally do. So let's do the Ascent of Knives. The risk is that we generate something we don't really care that much about, but versus the risk of potentially generating something that will put me on a path to a loss, I'll take the safer option. Alright, well, this is one of the things that could potentially create problems for me. The bitter atmosphere will generate dread if I don't find something else to do with it, but that's what recruitment's for. Winter passes the clothes, passes the skin, nestles in the veins. I visited the Ascent of Knives last night, that harshest of roads through the house. It has been sacred to the Menascate and the Sun and Rags ever since the Intercalate, when the true sun was divided. When I woke, my room was freezing. The chill of it had cracked the window glass. Alright, and as before, we don't have a ton of reason to work with, but this should still take us through. In 10 seconds, we'll find out what the long has in mind for me. The artist's reward. My recent work is considered significant. I may yet earn a living from this, but nothing is certain. Alright. So we're really really drowning in glimmering and mystique at this point. Oh, maybe not as much glimmering as I thought. We still have our staleness, unfortunately, but we did make a little more money than we would have through any of our other methods. Our immortal enemy has decided on a course of action. Alright, here is the light at the edge of the Here is the light on the edge of sleep, of which both Cosley and Herschel wrote, each in their time. Alright, so that complicates things a little bit for me, especially given that the dream verb is currently occupied. My fleeting reminiscence only has 20 seconds left on it. That'll go away. And the season of visions is coming up in 20 seconds. So I believe we're going to get hit by this no matter what. Our mortal action is preparing, or sorry, our mortal enemy is preparing their next action. Yeah, we are going to get hit by the fascination no matter what. Our spy has returned to us. Cat Caro has finished getting an eye on our nemesis. Oh, we can't bring Dr. Adib. Ah, that's where things went wrong. I'm gonna have to rearrange the desktop before too long. Let's send Slee out. Okay, the words contain knowledge, and now I contain it. It's a little like theft, and a little like feasting, and a little like the progress of an infectious disease. So we are creeping closer to our goal. It's going to be close to get the erudition. Actually, hang on. I need 120 seconds in total to be able to convert this. So unless... Yeah, no, we're still going to have to get another erudition, sadly. Alright, so there's the fascination. Clouds part. The wolf despair prowls elsewhere. No dread empowers this despair. It's over for now. And we have a season of suspicion. So this notoriety is going to become a liability. We're also going to be generating a second one. Now, the reason why I won't be doing a talk with Clovette to start sucking up the different reputations that I have is just we will still, even after the next sort of turnover, have 3 mystique to 1 notoriety. And given that the Weary Detective has a chance of not generating any... so there's a chance the detective won't generate won't generate an evidence in the first place, and the fact that we're able to, the fact that we're able to destroy the evidence if it gets to that point, it doesn't really seem to be worth it to use up that talk verb right now. That was what I think I was trying to talk about a little bit before, but I stumbled over my words. Somebody had mentioned in the comments what I thought of the different approaches, and as with anything inside of these games, it's a matter of personal preference in one case, or in some cases, and also just the sort of the reality of whatever you're dealing with. In some situations, I'm not entirely sure it's worth disrupting all of your plans just to be able to deal with one problem that can be dealt with in another way. On the other hand, when I'm facing something that will potentially be the end of a playthrough, clearly I'm going to be putting all of my attention towards clearing it out. So essentially, my lack of using Clovette's special ability is it's really just more of a statement on my how unintimidated I am by the Suppression Bureau. Alright, we have Kerner and Goethe. Now, I can't remember if it was Latin that we didn't have or Greek that we didn't have. Yeah, so it looks like we do already have Greek. And we have the Grey Dawn oil. Oh, actually, I should be reading all of these. So, Refulgen, white so pure that it remains visible even in utter darkness. And Grey Dawn oil, the precise color of the hours when one cannot sleep. The Watchers here were guarding crates sealed with thief-signed ribbons. This was not a lawful operation. The owners of the cargo may not be pleased with our meddling. Okay, so this has taken care of everything that we needed to, everything that we sort of needed to get in the capital. Now, there's an interesting question here. One would be, do I want to go to the Shires? These will definitely require 2 funds for each expedition, potentially more if I fail the objectives. And this is why I actually think going to Moorlands to buy some more books is a better idea right now, because I have 3 funds at the moment, one of which is going to be taken up with the bank, with the rent. That means that at any given moment, with a sort of limited group of followers, better than what I had before, but I still can't, fully pass things like forge challenges. This is a fairly financially risky proposition, and so at the moment I think spending the funds on things that will give me access to more lore and potentially rituals are the right call. Actually, I think it's the I believe I actually need to do an expedition to get the book that will allow me to summon things. One way or the other, though, I actually think buying some books from Moorlands for the next little while is the right call. So, the dim premises of Miss Moorland, who deals in rare and sometimes dangerous books. So let's feed my habit. Old and happy far off things is going to generate restlessness. Fortunately, though, we are going to be able to paint in a little while, and I would like to paint, so... this would normally generate a mentor, but I believe I have all of them, so that'll just generate a case of mistaken identity. The clerks file out in silence. I am free for now. So, let's paint. This may not help the staleness, but I think I'll take advantage of the 2. I sort of messed up, but the old and happy far off things will be done in time. Moth finds light in the dark, and so do I. Patron, we can learn from one another. I really need to get better at my aim. Okay. Peculiar rumor, huh? This might lead me to someone I need, or it might mean something else entirely. Explore with a rumor to follow up on it. Oh yes, I remember this touch. This is a nice touch, actually. So it means that I'm sort of looking for someone. It's pretty clear that if I'm doing this action, that I'm looking for a new follower. And given that I've exhausted all of the potential mentors, the game is giving me the option of finding one. This will come at the cost of notoriety, but because I know I'm not going to be going on any expeditions, I think that price is worth paying. Now, let's go to the Order of the Bloody Cup. Let's bring Laidlaw in, because they have the skill that I need the most. And do I not have... I could have sworn I had a single Grail lore. Well, the Megalesian incantation it is. And let's take the icy atmosphere for a start. This one is ready. Oh my goodness. It looks like the... Oh, that's actually really inconvenient. So, for some reason I didn't have... I'm sure it got... oh, that's right, it got picked up in the talk verb, so my bad. In my dreams I know the path to the stag door through the maze of the bounds. Gearby will let me pass, but the path is always a puzzle. I will need reason. Here in the dry byways of the bounds are the intricate fissures and snares of 10,000 years of time. My reason is lacking. I will wake without the sight of the door. Now I drift into other dreams. And we get Herschelt's nightmare. The sun is rising, it won't spare me. Now I can slough off my flesh, or sorry, the cleansing dawn, not Herschel. Patch by patch, tugging the tendons, free like fibers picked from teeth. My skin lies like a shredded blanket. The sun heaves itself above the horizon with a triumphant battle yell. The light falls like acid on my naked bones. Pain wakes me. My bones will throb for days. And on that note, we will finish today's playthrough. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see some of you, at least, on Friday when we continue this playthrough.